So, I've been kind of thinking for a bit what should I talk about next, and it's been between a few topics that were on my mind for some time now, but I think I decided to just stick with the stuff that I know and I kind of want to generally share. In this case, I thought, why not just talk about what I have been using for a while now? That being Linux. And why I don't suggest people to use Linux. It's a rather long story, so sit back, relax, and welcome aboard to many reasons of why a person who used Linux for like 10 years at this point does not suggest it as a assist. Before we start, hi, I am Hydro, and I use Arch, by the way. I'm not. People who say that they use Arch are usually kind of, well, let's just say stupid, because they don't know what the hell are they doing. Usually, keywords, please don't start complaining about me saying, oh, this is not true, I know how to use this system, blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, shh. I did not ask, first of all. Second of all, I don't care. Good luck fixing your computer, by the way. Alright, let's start from the beginning as to why I swapped to Linux. Many people will be like, oh, I swapped to Linux because Windows is bad, or macOS doesn't work for me, or I just hate Microsoft, or I hate Apple. I'm like, understandable. That's understandable reasoning. I understand and I respect those people who say such stuff. My reasoning is kind of strange in a way. I had issues with Windows, I'm not gonna lie. I've had a break on me many times beforehand. But like, it's not that it's the Windows the reason why I swapped. No, it's kind of stupid, rather. I was curious one night. It was in 2016, 2015-ish. I'm not exactly 100% sure when was it. But I was one day just like, I'm gonna try Linux for kicks. Well, I don't know, why not? So I went to install Linux on Sony. I swear to God, their naming schemes for anything is just, except for PlayStation, is just beyond stupid. But it's literally called, and I kid you not, Sony VGN-SZ1/B. What the hell does that mean, Sony? For God's sake. Anywho, so installed, I think it was, you guessed it, Ubuntu, or however the hell you want to say that, just call it Ubuntu. I don't care. 14.04 was it back then? I don't really remember. But I just installed it and was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I did not have GPU drivers because my graphics card on this laptop, that I still have, by the way, is an NVIDIA GeForce Go 7400M, I think it was, or some NVIDIA, old NVIDIA card with like a Core Duo 32-bit CPU, so I was kind of already screwed over. But I didn't really care back then because I just used it for small tasks. Nothing really fancy, nothing really special. And I pretty much just used this machine as a... I'm trying to do this myself. I pretty much just used it as a tinkering device and just to see how Linux feels, how it works, how stuff work on it. I have not really done much that I do nowadays on it, like using the terminal or installing software for testing or for ABC reasons, or using it as a daily driver. No, it was just a really simple machine where I just used like simple programs like a browser. I had Wine, which back then was kind of iffy. I did not run Steam games on it because that poor thing can't even run Half-Life 1 from Steam from what I remember years ago at this point. I didn't really try it recently, but Proton now exists, so I guess that's easier, but that's all another part of this video. This has I did not control. Good grief. Ugh. There you go. But yeah, I just use it for some small stuff. I mainly remember using it in school, in high school, or middle school, or whatever the hell is it called at this point. I think it's middle school in my country, but going by like quote-unquote standard theorying of school, or of how progress in school goes, I think it would be high school. I just used it for programming from Pascal. Don't ask me why I was using Pascal at school. It's just school system here is outdated. Not important right now. I use it for that, and I remember still to this day that I was like doing some other stuff, just minding my own business. Classes were over, we had a short break, and I whipped my laptop out because it had a good battery still. Now it's kinda meh, it's kinda dying, but meh. I still remember my philosophy teacher was there, I think it was, or professor rather, as we call them, whichever. She was there and just comes over, because the classes are over, and she just asks me, "Oh, you seem to be playing this old game, which was Wolfenstein 3D. I grew up with that game. I don't really like it nowadays. It's all nostalgia for me, realistically. I only play like first 7 levels and then I stop because it's not, it really aged poorly compared to Doom, but that's aside. I played in DOSBox, funnily enough. But I just talked with her a bit. I was like, "Oh yeah, you shoot these people in this game. It's actually really kind of fun, and I found it nostalgic because I played it as a kid, blah blah blah." Like, I just kind of have a vague memory of that. It's kind of intriguing to think about that laptop that I still have works fine and everything, but I just don't use it because I don't have a reason. I have an actual good laptop now, which is my Dell Latitude that I've used for a few years before I got my computer that I currently own and use. But yeah, that's one of the more fun memories that I have of me starting with Linux in general. But back then I didn't know what the hell was a terminal, I didn't know what Wine really was, I didn't really know many things in general with Linux that I know now. But then I started distro hopping like twice. I went to Lubuntu because I was like, "Oh, my performance isn't really good, I'm gonna try this Lubuntu." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna try that." It's fine. It's nothing to write home about as well. It's just like, it's what it is. It runs on, or ran, LXDE if I remember. LXDE. I don't remember if it still runs on that or if it uses LXQT now, but it doesn't really matter right now. I swapped from that to Sparky Linux, which I think is the same thing, different basket, to my knowledge. I can't really recall because that's been like 8 or 9 years ago at this point, so... I don't remember what exactly I used my laptop after I swapped to Lubuntu for, but I just remember that around the same time, like a few months after I swapped to Sparky on that laptop, my old rigs, Windows died. It just disappeared, and I couldn't fix it because there was no partition to fix. The drive was fine, but it just didn't exist anymore. As in, the Windows partition was gone. No idea what the hell happened there, and I said, "Screw this, I'm just gonna install Linux at this point." So I remember flashing it in, I think it was either like... what was it? I think it was Manjaro. I don't really like Arch-based systems, if you can tell. Nowadays. Back then I was like, "Oh, this sounds cool, throw it in." I used it for a couple of months, then I just swapped to Endeavor, or I think it was called Endeavor, I can't really remember the name, which I've used for quite a while, and it wasn't really my pride and joy that I was like, oh, this is Arch Linux, it's so cool, it's bleeding edge, dude. I can do everything. Oh, look, new update came out. Oh, I gotta update my... Oh, wait, there's nothing. My system's broken. Yeah, that's been my Arch experience for like 2 years, 3 years, maybe. Maybe even longer. No, 3 years, yeah. It's just been consistently having issues with... Oh, this update came out. Oh, cool. Oh, this thing broke now. Oh, look, Grub, the bootloader, the thing that tells Linux to, hey, use this thing to start your system up, broke as well. I love Arch Linux, can you tell now? But now, fast forward, I tried a few other distributions like OpenSUSE, never using that again, and now I'm on Fedora. Now I can't complain because it's actually really, really good, but to be exact, I'm on Nobara, which means I can't have Hotman in my life. Man, that's very sad. Anyway, the thing is, Fedora personally has been the most stable, reliable, glitch-free-ish distribution I've ever used. Why did I say ish? I had my own problems. Niche and minor, but still had problems. But now I want to get to the main topic, I guess. Why I don't suggest people to use Linux? Well, simple. Compatibility. Well, lack thereof, I guess, because dear god, there's so many programs that just refuse to run even with compatibility layers. I can't wait for all the ladies to go, oh, but just use these alternative software, blah 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 blah. Shut up, my god, dude. It's just, don't talk when you don't know what the hell are you saying. It's just... The thing is, when it comes to Linux does not run the same software that Windows can run, or Mac OS, but that's technically possible on technical level. Realistically it's not, because it's completely different stuff, but that's not important now. It's more technical things that I want to bore people with that are not into this kind of stuff or don't understand it. That aside, I wanted to just generally explain this now. Linux compatibility only works through Wine and its derivatives, and the main derivative being Proton, which is Valve/Steam game compatibility software that makes games that are made for Windows only run on Linux. While this might sound stupid to some people, we just would go like, why would you do this? Why would you run Windows games on Linux? Simple, because of the fact that your Linux systems in general, even the most like quote-unquote bloated ones, just perform better, usually. Excuse me. The thing is, Proton is just a layer where it runs, as far as I know, I might be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt, a pseudo virtual machine in a way, where it's like running the program in an isolated machine, but I am not sure on that. It's just judging by my own exploration of the files. So I might be really wrong there, because I didn't really look into what Proton/Wine is in depth. But it pretty much makes the program run on Linux, let's say that way, simply, with performance loss, but you can't see it due to the fact that Linux uses less resources, like your graphics card, your CPU, your ABCDEFG thing, far less than Windows does, hence you see these performance boosts. Exceptions exist, of course, mainly games that just refuse to run on Linux even through Proton/Wine or whatever the hell you try. Best case example I can give is a relatively niche game that'll probably never get the coherent remaster of any form or any coherent fix to work on Linux, is You Are Empty. Yes, that's the name of the game. Go play it. It's actually a really good game in my opinion, but if you're a person who's all about like fast action-packed gameplay, whoa, kind of thing like Ultra Kill and Dusk and whatnot, you might not like it, but otherwise do genuinely play it. Personal suggestion. The problem with that game is due to the fact that it relies on, as far as I remember from my own testing and researching and kind of just tinkering, it relies on Windows Defender, or not Defender, Firewall to host a local server on your machine where you connect and then play the game. It is really stupid that it is that way, but it's the 2000s, like late 2000s, maybe early 2010, I can't recall when it came out. It's still really stupid that they made it that way. All of the games made on that engine, which I can't remember what it is exactly, run this way. Meaning that on Linux, it's theoretically impossible to get the game running past the menu screen. No matter what I tried, I just was not able. If someone's more knowledgeable on this stuff and maybe wants to help me out, do let me know on Blue Sky or whatnot. I am genuinely really down to help you troubleshoot or in any form try to help you to run this game on Linux, because it's one of my personal favorite games. That's one of the main reasons why I don't suggest Linux. Now let's get to the second reason. Anti-cheat. Jesus fucking Christ, I hate anti-cheat. Anyway, they don't work. I really love them. Anyway, the thing is, some games such as Rainbow Six Siege, for example, the best one can think of, have an anti-cheat that just does not work on Linux. Fortnite as well has the issue. I know that you're listening to this Blue Jay. Shush. Appreciate it. You know, due to the anti-cheat being configured in a really bizarre way, or they refuse to configure it to work on Linux, you either get disconnected due to conflicts or just get instantly banned for trying to quote-unquote bypass it, as far as I heard. I'm not sure which games have this issue. I've not really investigated these games because I don't play them. I only play Counter-Strike 2, which is Valve made and runs on Linux natively, so I don't really have an issue there. Except for the fact that I want to play Face It one day, not yet. I can't play it on Linux because the anti-cheat doesn't work. So there's also that. Ugh. That's a really stupid thing that I have to deal by installing or running on Windows. Which will get me to the third part, VR. Yes, VR on Linux works. When you were expecting to say something else? Because I will say something else. It is a borderline nightmare to set it up. You might think to yourself, oh, just install Steam VR. Oh, it's just easy, dude. It's gonna... No, it's not gonna work because the Steam VR on Linux is the most broken thing I've ever tried to use. Ever. Don't bother with it. There are some software like what was it called? Nomera? Or something like that? Nomaro, I think. I blanked out really hard. I can't remember. Damn it. The thing is, it's OpenVR or OpenXR, just more refined for Linux use case. And maybe Windows as well, but I don't think there's really compiled binaries for Windows, as far as I know. There's a lot of different tools you need to use depending on your headset. You need to do different setups. Don't use ALVR is all I can say. I tried it, it blows chunks. Don't try using it, it is bad. But then the other case that you have to deal with is performance loss. Whoop-de-doo, shocker, I know. No, it's not really a shocker, let's be honest. The first time I tried to run VR chat on Linux on this current computer, I had a different graphics card, which is pretty much an equivalent of like a GTX 16 or 1060, not 1660. That's what I have now. I have a 1660 now in i7 6700. 20 FPS locked. I could not change the FPS value and I kept crashing. So now with a new graphics card, I have a stable kind of frame rate. Like, it's not good frame rate, but it's fine. I still want to vomit every time I use it because it's trying to do reprojection, but it has more latency than I expected it. I just don't like reprojection. Dear God, it makes me motion sick. And that's one of the reasons I don't suggest it VR as well. Linux, that is. So the next reasoning? Software. Wow. I am surprised. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop with this stuff. Software on Linux is a really big nightmare, because you're gonna have the... trying to be mean... dipshits in the community which will just go, oh, use FOSS, which is free open source software. Alternative for this program that you can run from Adobe, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay. Alright, let me just try using GIMP. Oh wait, the user interface is a joke. Let me try to use this software. Oh, it doesn't work because it's not been updated. Wow, shocker, guys. Of course it's not gonna freaking work when you suggest software that's like made by a few people versus a glamorous company that just thirsts for money. Like, shocker. Whoop-de-doo, is it? Like, the people who suggest this kind of stuff are just the ones that I hate the most. You're suggesting software for someone that doesn't know how to use the system in first place. Like, open your eyes, or at least look past 3 centimeters away from your face. God's sake, dude. Problem with this stuff comes to the things I mentioned before, which is wine and Proton compatibility. There's some programs that have Linux versions, like Adobe Substance 3 Painter. I tried it, works, or the Linux version that is. When I tried to use the Windows version, it thought I had 76 megabytes of VRAM. So you be the judge which works. Then, like, 2D art programs like Clip Studio Paint, Paint Tool Sci, Photoshop, if you use that for whatever reason as painting tools. That stuff is not gonna run easily on Linux. Not without heavy tinkering, from what I heard. I've not tried because I use Krita when I do retexturing and just drawing in general. And Blender, but Blender is just industry standard for freelancers, I guess. Wait, that makes no sense if it's industry standard. What am I saying? Okay, anyway. The next and potentially final reasoning I would not suggest Linux is simply... How many distributions, excuse me? 100 plus? Was that? Okay, repeat that? Oh, I can't hear you because majority of them don't matter. They don't matter, dude. The only 2 I will suggest to people are like Ubuntu and Fedora. And, okay, maybe SUSE, but... In recent times when I talked with people who are like, I want to use Linux, I want to try Linux or such question, I just tell them, look at Ubuntu, look at Ubuntu derivatives such as Xubuntu, Kubuntu, or Kubuntu, or whatever the hell, or look at Fedora, like Fedora Stock, Ultramarine, or Nobara, and explain everything about each of them for what they are useful for, except Ubuntu and the derivatives are same thing, different basket. But the thing on that end is that it's like people want to just jump into Arch, which don't use Arch if it's your first time using Linux. You will get lost and confused and you will break your system. Ask me how I know. Man, by that I mean I've witnessed too many people just breaking their computer. Or system, not computer. Same thing, different basket. Alright, so the thing on suggesting Linux system or distributions, whatever the hell, is just simply stability. You want stability for these people and ease of use. where they don't need to rely on the terminal 24/7 for the most basic of basic things, for crying out loud. But then you have people who kind of know their stuff with computers, like tech savvy and nerdy people. You can tell them to try Arch, but I would not suggest. I would preferably just say maybe like Fedora leading edge distributions, which are not the same as bleeding edge. Bleeding edge is everything is shoved out of the door, no real coherent testing has been done. Leading edge has actual testing before they release updates, but they're trying to keep them consistent updates wise. As far as I know, Fedora is one of the leading edges. I know OpenSUSE has leading edge distribution, or had, I'm not sure at this rate. But in general, for maximum stability, I would say maybe Basite would be also decent, but it's also kind of weird because it's an atomic distro, which TLDR on that is immutable or does not change. Something about like the way it does packaging and some other stuff, I think, is just different. I don't really remember. I've never used one. But right, I think that should be all you can think of about Linux and reasons why you shouldn't use them. If you want to use Linux and you're interested, you can do the method that I've been told by one of my good friends. You know who you are, Red Boy, and I appreciate you on that method. To install Linux on an external drive, but boot into it through the BIOS instead of dual booting. It's a genuine safety precaution so you don't break your boot partition on Windows, which if you do that you can't boot into Windows because it doesn't know where to look for Windows files. Install it on external drive, install whatever distro that I mentioned from the last part, like Fedora, Nobara, Ultramarine, Ubuntu, Kubuntu. Those are the ones I suggest. Christ. Try them out, see if you like it. If you do like it, swap Windows with it, or stick it as external drive. Up to you. But to say that you want to ditch Windows, it's gonna be rough. Just it'll take you a really long time to adapt to Linux and everything software-wise and compatibility-wise, because hardware is also a big problem on compatibility list, especially Wi-Fi drivers. BlueJay knows who that is. You know who you are, BlueJay. I'm not gonna refer to you by your name, but I'll refer to you that way. They've told me about their Linux and Wi-Fi issues they had, to the point where they bought a access point to use just internet in general. It's just a really complicated mess sometimes to say, I want to swap to Linux. Well, here's reasons why you probably should, and maybe if you do want to try Linux, try it externally. Try it with an external drive where you can just put it and forget about it. If it's something like a laptop, it still should work. If it's a computer, it should work as well, but remember to be careful with what you're doing on Linux, especially because of the sole fact of it's really different. It is not Windows where it's gonna hold your hand in quotation marks and just tell you what to do easily, because you have to look into this kind of stuff. You have to kind of search into solutions sometimes. Not rare, but not even common. So it is a thing that happens when you have to use Google, looking stuff up, and trying to diagnose your problems, such as like software not working, for example, due to dependency issue, which means you need to find packages or programs, I guess, DLLs if you're gonna be that picky, for Linux to be able to run the program. It's kind of similar story with Windows, but yeah, just be prepared to feel deal with completely different issues and maybe a bit harder time to find solutions. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.